This is to confront the most common question I am asked, which, oddly enough, is, why do you call yourself Booger? All right, watch what you ask for. The Ballad of Booger. The Ballad of Booger is a story I tell when there's ever a lull in the chatter. And while many insist that I'm all full of crap, in the end, I guess it really don't matter. It's the legend I lived as an 8-year-old boy in my heartland American town when I single-fingeredly brought down a giant. Myth the neighborhood kids spread around. See, there was a big bully, an ogre of sorts, that lived between my home and the school, and over us poor elementary kids, cruel being Frankie Lucetti did rule. He'd take our lunch money, de-pants us, shoot our buttons right off of our shirts, make all of our homeworks just right on the breeze. And nipple twists, that really hurt. He'd send our gym shoes over phone lines. They probably still hang there today. Our travels to school were no fun as a rule, because he hunted us down just like prey. We hated Lucetti. We wished he was dead, and as we bumbled to class, lunches spread on our head. Now, there were 2 others who lived on my block, had to cross over at Frankie's Street, and our common dilemma forced us together to learn to be quick on our feet. There was snotty-faced Bucky, brown-skinned and slow, and his feet duck-flapped wherever he ran, and Frankie would hear him and fly on his bike to humiliate our wimpy clan. Then there was Lucy, young, skinny, and pale, silver braces and big buggy eyes. And Frankie tied up her long braids into knots till the whole damn street rang with her cries. One time, though, I did notice Frankie's disgust as he used markers to give us mustache, and Bucky's snot slick made his face wince, and got Bucky some extra tongue lash. See, my good friend Bucky had that snot-drippy thing. What can I say? We were just in 3rd grade. But when Frank got to Bucky, his nose was all yucky, and Bucky only got him a beard. Now we'd creep and we'd crawl across Pine Street, tiptoe hunkered down by people's hedges, in hopes that Frankie and his 2 hoodlum friends wouldn't catch us and give us more wedges. It was one perfect sunny April afternoon that would bring me my awesome acclaim as we peered round a wall to see if he was there at all, that I would attain my great fame. See, Frankie was down the street, probably 2 blocks, toilet papering Lloyd Butts into a mummy, and it appeared that Frankie was giving court. So I gave the signal. Heck, I ain't no dummy. And so from our 3-pointed stances, we bolt. Do it now or this thing just won't happen. And just then Frankie turned down and looked up the street as Bucky's feet started duck flapping. Hey, you bastards, he called out. Stop it right now, as he flew after us on our bikes. And the sound of baseball cards and bicycle spokes came quick as he charged for his strike. Well, the hoodlum boys skidded before us, and we wimpsters just froze in our tracks. As Frankie pulled up to us grinning and began with his verbal attacks. Well, little bastards, you're trying to slip past? Well, now sees I caught ya. You ain't so dang fast, and then you got me all winded chasing after you. But I got you now. Ain't a thing you can do. He was right. We'd run too far. Baseball field, no houses around, and there were no adults to hear our whimpering sound. Frankie got off his bike and stomped hard on a toe, and poor Bucky went silently. And he noogied on Lucy, who stared at her feet, and then he looked over at me. Who are you looking at, Junior? Do you want to be next? I bet you're the boss of this gang. And he stepped right up to me, prepared to plow through me. And then, into action, I sprang. I remembered the snot pool that grossed Frankie out. So I burrowed right down to my source. And I found me a python of mucus supreme, and I whipped it out without remorse. And I held it out there on my finger, all greeny and sticky and gross. And I swung it around like a saber, and it flashed by his face really close. Back up, Frankie, I yelled at him shrilly. You know what I'm going to do? My finger is loaded, it's gooey and green, and I'm going to wipe it on you. You bastard, he called out, backing on up, protecting himself best he could. You gross-sick old bastard, you leave me alone. His cries rang across the neighborhood. And he tripped on his bike and he fell in the dirt. My sweet sword of snot made him cry like he hurt. Well, my neighborhood whimsters just could not believe it. My emboogered fingers grew power. As he whined and he ducked beneath my nose nuke. Could have tortured him there for an hour. From the edges of panics, the hoodlums just stared as tears rushed down poor Frankie's face. And he threatened to go get his mama. How's that for the final disgrace? So I let him crawl home then in horror, while my motley crew looked on in awe. And I let out a howl, and the two hoodlums on their bikes retreated, because they couldn't believe what they saw. Me, I raised my finger on high, see, standing there with my legs spread out wide, and I let out a howl to the whole flippin' world of the power I found down inside. I stood on the ball field on Pine Street, finger bedecked with empowered snot. Alexander the Great and Napoleon! And if you think that's funny, it's not. Because I felt fury of desperation as the meek falls again to the strong. And I dug down real deep down inside me. Found a weapon to prove that law wrong. My victory crowd rang out loud, see, and it stretched out for eons gone past. Multitudes suffering brutality. It's all they needed to kick them some ass. 'Cause it's all buried deep down inside you. Maybe places you don't want to go. And it takes a big finger to get there. And I need it. But that's the only way that we grow. What comes out, well, it may not be pretty. What comes out, well, it may not be pretty. It's like stepping up here to this mic, but it's power and you ought to try it. Don't worry what people don't like. See, I've rushed the Normandy beaches. I've beaten the conquering Hun. I've sent savages crying to mama. And I'll need a handkerchief when I'm done. My high school friends all knew the story. My legend had gone down the years. They knew that I had it inside me somewhere to make giants fall down to tears. So don't mess with me, folks, 'cause I'm Booger. And you know what my shtick's all about. To empower us all to dig deeper, 'cause you never know what might come out. Peace.